Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing my 1-year postpartum update, the real and honest version. I can't believe it's been 1 year since I gave birth now. Yesterday was the official birthday of my 1-year-old. It's so bittersweet, and I thought the second time around would be different, but I still feel so sentimental about it. I was sobbing yesterday, trying to write a letter to my daughter. I just can't believe how fast time flies when you have a baby. Like, that first year just goes by like that. And it's probably the most excruciating year. The first year I find is the heaviest. And still I find it such a magical time, such a wonderful time having your little baby and having those moments that are so fleeting and they just go by way too fast. So I'm not gonna get into that now. I don't want to be crying in this video, that's not the point. Today I want to talk about my mindset, how my body and fitness journey looks like after baby, what daily motherhood is like, and the lessons that I've learned the past year. If you're a new mom wondering what life might look like a year in, I hope that this video encourages you and reminds you that you're not alone. After having my first, it's actually easier now to know what it was going to look like for my second. But there are still things that did surprise me this time around. In my expectations, I would have already been back to my pre-baby weight 1 year postpartum, which is actually what happened. But the difference is that my belly area is still not back to what it used to be. I feel like the first time it did go back much faster, but this time around, I still feel like I have a little bit of a mom pooch. It's not pretty, and it's something that I definitely still want to work at, and I am still working at. But I'm also just trying not to let it bother me too much. I'm just trying to do the best that I can with the time and energy that I have, trying to make healthier choices, and also trying to give my body, the time to recover. I'm also still breastfeeding, which apparently also makes it so that your body still feels like it's postpartum, because the hormones and breastfeeding are still controlling my body. After a year, I did expect to sleep much better, which, thank God, is the case, because I cannot go for way too long with very little and very bad quality sleep. I expected it to be more difficult having 2 kids instead of just 1, which is obviously the case, because there are times when you really need to multitask and you really need to like go from one to the other like a ping pong ball, and that is the case for sometimes. It's not all the time like that, but there are moments when you're just a little bit frantic because there's 2 needing your attention, which is completely normal. I expected to be able to get back to my usual routine, which is for the most part pretty much true. We have a new normal routine with 2 kids, and it is partially true, although I would like to go back to having a little bit more time in the morning to be able to meditate, to be able to actually work out more regularly in the mornings before dropping the kids off and stuff like that. I'm afraid I'm going to have to wake up a little bit earlier still. At the moment, I'm not waking up that early. I'm only waking up a few minutes before I really need to wake up. So I think I'm going to have to adjust and wake up even earlier, just shift it a little bit more to have maybe 30 minutes more to be able to have like a good buffer for working out and stuff like that. My mindset now compared to my mindset during the newborn stage is very different, because during the newborn stage it was really like survival mode, and now, as I mentioned, we have a good routine going, we have a good rhythm with our daily life, and it's so much easier in a sense than it was in the newborn stage. To be honest, I let a lot of things go during the newborn stage because I just gave myself grace, a lot of grace, because I knew how it was going to be, and I knew that it was going to be challenging, and I didn't want to put myself in a position where I'm just pressuring myself unnecessarily. So I really purposely, consciously let go of a lot of things, like cleaning the house and stuff like that. It's nice when it's done, but it's really not the priority during that stage. And so my main priority is obviously keeping the kids happy and healthy and fed and stuff like that. And then my second priority is myself and recovery and stuff like that. So I took naps when I needed, I slept as much as I could, I asked for help from my partner mainly, and I already prepped a lot of things that I could when I was pregnant, so that it will be easier for me postpartum, which it was. Thanks to my pregnant self for doing all that prep. Now I feel like I'm taking the reins back again, and I feel like a little bit more on top of things, and I'm able to manage things a little bit more smoothly because we really have that routine going on, which really does help. The hardest mental challenge for me is probably still the mom guilt that I experienced, especially in the very beginning of having 2 kids, because I felt and sometimes still feel guilty that I can't give 100% of my attention, 100% of my time to both of them. With 1 kid, obviously I was able to do that, but with 2 kids, it's obviously not possible to give 100% each of them. I still struggle with it sometimes, but they say that your first gets your time and your second gets your experience. And this is something that I try to remind myself whenever I feel that mom guilt, because it really does help to lift the burden a little bit off of my shoulders. And I do have to say that 1 year in, my mom guilt has gone from here going here. What has helped me cope is really mainly talking to people and expressing how I feel. That's always been the best way for me, I found, to cope with the challenging emotions, the challenging things and stressful moments in my life. So talking to my partner, talking to my close friends and family has really helped me to be able to process what I'm feeling, process my thoughts. And that's what I did postpartum and what I still am doing. I talk with my husband about pretty much everything and anything that I can think of and that I'm feeling, and I really have no filter when it comes to him. He's my best friend. He's just been my rock for like ever, but especially postpartum, and I'm just so grateful to have him with me because he really just is always there for me and is such a good listener and a good advice giver, and yeah, a good cheerleader too when needed. And he really just helps me to be able to get through the more difficult things and also celebrate the small wins and big wins with him, and really has been helpful for me to recover and to enjoy my postpartum period. How my body feels now after pregnancy and compared to before pregnancy. So I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself to snap back or bounce back ASAP, because I know it's such a toxic mentality and I don't want to put that pressure on myself. I have enough on my plate, so I don't want to add another thing. So I do try to make healthier choices and try to exercise when I can, get as much movement in as possible, get my steps in and things like that. I'm trying not to focus too much on, the timeline of things, and I'm just focusing on slowly recovering and giving myself grace. My body has been so amazing. I have really a newfound respect and love for my body after becoming a mom, for all of the things that my body has been able to do for me, and I just really want to take care of her as much as she's been able to take care of me. So I feel like it took me becoming a mom to be able to fully love and respect my body because of all the things that it has been through and I've been through with it. So I know that I need to give myself and my body time to recover and heal properly and to just get stronger again. And I know that I'm going to get there, maybe not immediately, but at some point we're gonna get there, and it's totally fine. My approach to fitness and movement has always been, but more so now than ever, to always just stay consistent. So I don't really do anything crazy, nothing big with movement or fitness. I literally just have a goal of trying to exercise 2 to 3 times a week, and just for like 20 to 30 minutes each. I just put on a video on YouTube of like a postpartum fitness video, and I just follow that. Just do it all at home. For now, it works with my lifestyle and my schedule. And then aside from that, I also just make sure that I'm getting my steps in, I'm getting movement in very regularly throughout the day. So my goal for steps is ideally 10K, but I have like a minimum of like 5K per day. So I just try to hit that every day. Although even if I don't, it's not a big deal. It's completely fine. I really just feel like slow and steady wins the race. And it's not about trying to get the results as quickly as possible. It's trying to get the results in the most sustainable way possible, so that I'm able to keep it as a lifestyle and not just something that I'm going to do quickly now and then later on just fall back to bad habits and not being consistent anymore. Anything that I would do differently, I don't think that I would actually. The only thing that I might do a little bit differently is stay in bed a little bit longer postpartum. With my first, I had a C-section, and with my second, I had a VBAC. So my recovery from my first was very different from my recovery with my second. With my first, it took me at least a week to feel a little bit normal again, but with my second, it really was so fast. The recovery time was amazing, and I was just so blown away by how fast I felt like normal again, how fast my pains went away and stuff like that. So I think I knew that I had to take it slow, and I did, but I think I could have taken it a little bit slower still. But I was just feeling so good that I felt like I could just do a lot of things that I needed to do, so I just kind of did them. But looking back now, I think I could have just taken it even a little bit slower still, but honestly, other than that, I wouldn't have changed a thing with how I have done things the past year. The biggest lesson I learned as a mom this year is I learned to become even more patient, because with 2 kids, it's rough out here. We need to really learn more patience, and that's something that I've always struggled with even before I became a mom. Am not the most patient person, and it's something that I'm consistently still struggling with sometimes and still am working towards getting better at. I also learned to multitask even better. I thought that before I was a pretty good multitasker, but now I'm like going at the pro levels. I feel like having to manage 2 kids is a little bit more complex than just having one, because there's just a lot of things going on at the same time. I feel sometimes like I need to have my eyes like this to split between the 2 kids, because the one is climbing up things that shouldn't, and then another one is trying to draw on walls or whatever, and you're just like you're trying to do something else still on top of trying to manage those sometimes. So it's never boring, definitely. And sometimes they also need me at the same time. So it's been interesting. What surprised me most about daily life with a 1-year-old is how similar and yet how different she is from her sister. Because my first is very prim and proper. She's like a little princess, and she's really like I guess the classic stereotypical firstborn that you see on social media, like these reels, funny reels comparing their firstborn and their second and stuff like that. My kids are a little bit like that, a little bit classic, because my first is really just a perfectionist, and she loves doing things a certain way, and she's just, so you tell her no, she listens for the most part. And she's just an easy kid overall. My second, though, she is an adventurer. She dares to do things that her sister wouldn't have dared to, and she's just a little bit of a fireball, that one. She's not difficult per se, but she is very daring, and she just sometimes does things that are a little bit dangerous, like playing with plugs and stuff like that, unplugging things and playing with cables that she shouldn't. She's a little bit of a firecracker, but I love her. But something that I love about having 2, which is different from just having 1, is how they can entertain and interact with each other as well. And this gives me moments of peace in between the chaos, which is nice, because then I can sometimes have a sip of coffee, like just have my coffee in peace while they're playing nicely. When they do play nicely, then I can do a little bit of small things here and there, which is obviously nice because they don't feel like they're alone, especially when they have that clingy phase when they just want to be with people all the time. They don't feel as alone because they always have each other. Basically now I have a routine, while the first few months postpartum I was a free-for-all. Now I have a good flow of what our days would normally look like, whereas before it was just like one day would flow into the other. I was also waking up multiple times with baby in the first few months, and now it's not the case because she's already sleeping through the night, which is amazing. And it's definitely not something that I'm taking for granted, knowing how it was before. Because before I had like 4 hours in a day, and that's a broken 4 hours at that, so I was really like a zombie sometimes. And so I had to take naps during the day when she was asleep just to get myself through the day because it was really rough. I love my sleep, and I'm someone who doesn't function very well with very little sleep. I don't know how some people do it. Some people are just still constantly doing things and cleaning and cooking and whatnot when they're operating on 3 hour sleep at night. I can't do that. I don't know how they do that, but I had to rely on taking day naps when I could. So I had overall less time to do things because of sleep deprivation, and my energy was very low then compared to now that I can get full night's rest. I don't need to take naps anymore during the day. It just frees up a lot of time for me as well to get things done. So yeah, it's really very different now compared to a few months ago. Waking up a few minutes before I really have to helps me so much because I get myself ready first and then I get the kids ready. I feel like it helps me feel a little bit ahead of the day in a really positive way, and this way the day goes so much smoother because I feel like I already got a little bit of prep for myself and I don't need to worry about that, and I can have my complete focus on the kids when I get them up. Never having enough time is still a struggle, but I think everyone really has that. Even if you're not even a parent, I think you would have that feeling sometimes that you never have enough time. There are times when I feel like I'm on top of things, but most of the time I feel like I'm just playing catch up, and that is still a struggle, and I think it's going to be continuously a struggle probably forever, especially during the times when the kids are very little, and that's just a reality that I've come to accept. The relationship with my partner has gotten even stronger after this first year postpartum. I feel like we have been more prepared this time around because the first time was rough on us, and there are a lot of things that we didn't really expect because we read and researched as much as we can, but nothing really prepares you than really experiencing the thing. And this time around we were really prepared. We really did a lot of prep beforehand because we knew what to expect for the most part. It's obviously going to be different babies, but for the most part we knew what to expect, and it really helped that we prepared for it first. It felt like we had a lot of adjustments that we had to do after our first, but this time around, because it's our second, we had less adjustments because we already had a kid. So it's just adding one more to our plate, and we were already parents, so we were already like wearing those parent hats, and we already knew, most of the things that would happen, so it was much easier this time around. We've always worked really well as a team, and now I feel even closer to him as I did before. My support system has been crucial in helping to keep me sane. Unfortunately, I don't live near my parents or my sister because they live in different countries, so our main form of communication has been through chatting and messaging and just having video calls online. But it really has been helpful for me to just vent things out. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm just somebody who processes my thoughts and my feelings best when I talk with people, and that's basically how they have been supporting me throughout postpartum. So I just make sure to schedule these calls regularly. Same with my friends, I have a regular schedule with them as well. And obviously my husband here has been the biggest support system for me as well. I believe that the caregivers, daycare providers, and teachers for our kids are also part of the community that has been helping to support us, because they're the ones taking care of the children during the day when we cannot be there for them. So that has also been keeping me sane, having that daycare support and that school support as well, who are amazing people that we also rely on for our kids when we're away. I don't think I find it necessarily hard or easy to ask for help. I think it's just that my default is not to ask for help because I'm just used to doing things on my own for the most part. I've grown to become very independent at a young age because my parents went away for work for several years and I was basically by myself and had to do things on my own. So it was a really big adjustment for me then, but it really helped me to become very independent and learn to do things on my own. And that's become my default mode basically that I've been operating at. And I don't think it's necessarily hard, it's just that I don't think about asking for help from people. And so that's something that I've had to consciously learn and kind of shift a bit in my head, that I can ask for help and I should ask for help sometimes because yeah, it's just something that you kind of need to switch on a bit. I find that people who care for you are just so willing and eager to help, and we should just let them do that because I'm also willing and eager to help the people that I care for. And I therefore believe that we should normalize asking for help and support when you need it. I am now compared to who I was before my first baby has essentially stayed the same, I would say, but simultaneously has also changed me so much. I'm definitely not the same person that I was before, I would say. Becoming a mom has made me so much more patient and so much more loving, but at the same time it has also changed me to become even tougher and even stronger. I have personally gained so much after becoming a mom. I still remember doubting having kids before because I was just not sure if I could do it, if it's something that I wanted. And I'm just so grateful that in the end I realized after a lot of time that I did want kids and it was something for me that I did want to have that and to become a mom. They're just everything that I could ever ask for and more. I wouldn't have been able to grow into who I am today and experience a different level kind of love if I didn't have them, and so I'm always just forever grateful for that. To the mom who is just a few weeks or a few months postpartum, I just want to say that you're amazing for bringing this new life into the world. You are so lucky to be able to experience something this exciting, challenging, and expanding. Your world probably feels like it has turned upside down at the moment, but I promise you that it does get better. Everything is a phase and every moment is fleeting, so try to embrace each moment and be present as much as you can. Postpartum is so difficult to explain to somebody who has never experienced it. It's a time that will challenge you, that will push you, and sometimes even break you, only to build you back up into an even better version, an even stronger version of yourself. Carrying a baby and giving birth is one of the scariest, most beautiful, nerve-wracking, exciting, amazing things that we could ever experience in our lifetimes. It might feel like a crazy roller coaster sometimes, but it also goes by so fast, so don't forget to enjoy the ride. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'd love to hear your own postpartum experience in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Come hang out with me on Instagram for more mom life content and daily tips. I wish you a great rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!